That's why I don't watch movies, because my heart is like this.
Oh yeah, I don't watch movies. That's why I get on TMZ in the morning and I find out everything that happened the night before. But watch it, I can't watch the news. But that's a 5-year-old. And what was the reason?
He's not her other computer or something. But it wasn't like this. Wow. You know they got them cops that be in the school we was off the one of them. You will see on the cycle credit. And that's why God didn't do this. He got to go to work
Yeah. Everett. Shouting about all more. You just put the headphones and make sure you're talking directly into this part. And we're back. And we're back. Lit Morning Show hit 92.3, and that was DJ Chuck. So you already know, by this point, you should know where to find him in case you are just tuned in and you've never heard the mix before. He spends every day from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And you can find him on Instagram at DJChuck_Styles and also on Facebook at Chuck Sites. This interview I have been waiting for a minute now. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's getting closer to that week. It's getting closer to that week. Then when the week came, it's getting closer to that day. So we have Miss J. Everett in the building. How you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. She's been telling me some stuff before this interview even happened. And I'm just like, everything is jaw-dropping. Because when you think you know the laws, you really don't know the laws. So let me fill you in, Jay, on what we were talking about this morning.
Okay.
So the conversation this morning was a couple separates. The guy goes and gets into another relationship. He's been separated for a while, separate houses.
Okay.
He has a child with another woman. For whatever reason, he dies. The wife gets the money. Is she responsible for making sure that his child is responsible in that other relationship?
No, the wife is not responsible, but the laws in the state of Georgia says that a child cannot be withheld from inheritance. So you have, that's why it's important to have a will when you die, because you dictate where your money go.
Okay.
When you don't have a will, it means you die intestate, and then the rules of the state govern. And the state of Georgia says that the wife gets 1/3 of whatever it is.
Okay.
If you have one child, then the wife gets 1/3 and the child gets 2/3. However, if you have 4 children, the wife still gets 1/3 and those 4 children split the 2/3.
Okay.
Now, in your situation, the reason why it's tricky is because at the moment of his death, paternity has not been proven. But it can still be proven.
Mm-hmm.
By DNA, obviously, whether it comes from, hair follicles from the house, from his body at the morgue, or even from another child he may have.
Okay.
Once paternity is established, that child is going to get their due share, and the wife has no control.
There you go. So as long as the father can determine not the father, but as long as the mother can prove paternity of the child, then her going on about her life doing what she want to do is non-existent. Mm-hmm. But if they don't take those steps, where does the 2/3 go?
It'll go to the wife. Everything will go to the wife if there's no one else.
Okay, so
she gets at least 1/3.
Gotcha.
But if there's no children, no nothing, because if he's married, then she's the next of kin.
Okay.
She is her, and then if they have children, then the children. If he wasn't married, it would go to his children, then his mom. If he doesn't have any children, it goes to his parents first,
okay.
And then that way. But if you're married, it's spouse, children, then your mom, and then it goes down, your father, then it goes down. If you're not married, but you have children, then it's children, and then your parents go down. It doesn't matter if you and this woman been together 20 years.
That's crazy.
If you're not married, she gets nothing.
And people don't understand how serious that is. People always say, like, marriage is not that serious. It's just a piece. I hear that a lot. It's just a piece of paper. That's an expensive, important piece of paper for it to be nothing.
I'm going to tell you my motto. Wives get everything, girlfriends get nothing. And that's how you should look at it.
Yeah, and And that's exactly how they should look at it. That's exactly, no matter what he telling you, or if the wife leaves him, no matter what she telling you, as long, if there's no paperwork in place. So I want to touch on wills for a moment. What if somebody wrote a letter and they have it on their possession when they pass away? They didn't do an actual will, but
Georgia
they have it written down.
Is very specific the requirements of a will. One, they do not recognize handwritten wills anymore in the state of Georgia. Okay, that's called a holographic will. Okay, so it has to be typed and it has to be witnessed by two people that are not a party to the will.
Okay.
Or you can get it notarized. There are four categories to a will where your assets fall into place. It's different if I say, give my husband my money that's in account X, or if I say, give my husband $10,000. Account X is specific, so it falls under one thing, but my estate is general. So that's the residuary, which means that whatever is left, it'll come out of that part.
Gotcha. And is a will expensive? And how do you acquire getting one? Like if I don't have a will. So what are the steps? Because I don't know the first.
Well, you do not need an attorney. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's the truth, right? I'm just going to be honest up in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, each one teach one, but you don't need an attorney. The laws can be found online. I mean, because like I said, it's Georgia rules that govern. This is the state that you want. Whatever state you live in, that is the rules of the state that you want to follow, right? Mm-hmm. However, if you made the will in Georgia and moved to Florida, it's still valid. You don't have to get a new one. Okay.
So no matter where you go, is it as long as you're in the U.S. or does it change if you move to another country?
No, it'll follow because someone, a trusted friend, advisor, maybe even a lawyer, should always have a copy of your will just in case something happens to you and nobody don't know where it's at. Okay. Or you have fighting family members and somebody tries to hide the will, you know. And I think it's important to note too that sometimes people are fighting over nothing. Because you've exaggerated your worth, right?
Yes.
And then you're sitting in front of this table with this lawyer saying, okay, I'm going to read the will as follows, and you're like, that's it?
Oh yeah, it was a beat down car that nobody wanted.
It's unfortunate, but all you have, like I said, it has to be typed, it has to be witnessed by two people, and you can say what you want in it, give whatever you want to whomever you want. There's no rules as to who gets what. The only thing in the state of Georgia, minor children cannot be kept out of a will. Now, if you have a will, you can keep your wife out of the will. She only gets if you don't have a will.
Gotcha.
But if you have two kids and you mad at them and they're under the age of 18, or you trying to be spiteful to their mama, they're still going to get it.
Ah, so no matter what,
the children will receive. And again, if you have a will and you don't put your children in it, they will receive as if you didn't have a will. So they will still get that portion.
So that's good to know, no matter what, as long as paternity is proven, that the child is always going to be taken care of. If they got something, like people trying to get wills and they don't have anything to give, like you said, it's probably 9 out of 10 when somebody passes away, the family's going to fight over whatever it is anyway.
Over nothing. And then the person is gone and you have this family bitter with each other and they don't realize, in my mind I'm thinking, did you just not learn from this guy passing away, this woman passing away, how precious life is?
Right.
And you guys are wasting it bickering. And it's unfortunate, especially in our community, that our family members and friends die without us ever saying, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's very unfortunate. And that happens often. And those are the main ones that show out at the funeral.
Show out.
You already know who is who at the funeral.
My mom said, you can always tell who was good or bad by how they act at the funeral. Exactly. Like if you that cousin screaming, oh my boo, they know that y'all were fighting.
Y'all definitely were fighting. And you want everybody to think that y'all made up before something happened.
Yes.
So let's try to keep it within the same realm but change the scenario slightly. So say that the guy or the female, whoever leaves and has a child, say that it's a situation to where they're not married and they had a child with somebody and it didn't work out. So now it's just baby mother, baby father. And because a lot of times it is the woman. Now I'm not going to just put it all on, because the last scenario I used for a man, so I'm going to switch it and put it on a woman this time. Just using a scenario, that's it. They split and the woman is bitter. And unless he has a relationship with her, he can't have a relationship with his child.
Okay.
What does he do?
And they're not married.
They're not married.
Okay. The state of Georgia is a mother state. That means that whenever a child is born out of wedlock, the mom has all the rights. She has the rights to determine custody and visitation. That's even if his name is on the birth certificate and even if he is paying child support.
Wow.
A man's only right to his child in the state of Georgia before this process we're about to speak of is to pay child support. A man can be paying child support and not be able to see his child.
That's crazy.
So the process is called legitimation. Mm-hmm. Legitimation is when the man actually establishes paternity in court and gets a court order. The court order says that the child is his. The child then can inherit from him, and he can inherit from the child. The reason why that's important is because men have no rights except to pay child support. Mm. And you know, in this state, if you don't pay, you can lose your driver's license. You can go to jail. Yes. You can lose your job. So it's important. I found out actually when I first started this journey that it was a bunch of women lawyers who actually lobbied for that rule.
Wow.
The old rule was called administrative legitimation, and that's where he actually signed something, paternity acknowledgement, at the hospital. Mm-hmm. It was on the back of the birth certificate, so it's a separate document. And what it's simply saying is, I, whomever, am the father of this child. I am saying that I'm accepting responsibility for this child's well-being, and I am the father. And you signed it, it got filed with vital statistics, and that was it. That was pretty much it. You still had to get an order for visitation and custody, but the thing about it is the mom didn't know that because you established paternity, right? She's thinking you have it, but you really don't. 2016, that law was repealed completely. The acknowledgement one. The only way to get legitimated is you have to go to court now.
That's crazy.
It's sad, and I'm sorry to say that because it costs money.
Yes,
it does cost money. The good thing, the state of Georgia does have a pauper's affidavit. And what that simply is like anything else that you fill out some paperwork saying that you low income and they waive the fees, but the judge decides. Like he asks you for different documentation, and then he'll say approved. And when you file your paper, it'll go through without costing anything. But a lot of people don't know that exists.
Wow.
And they don't give you the information.
Of course not, because they want to make their money. So what would you say that fee ranges from?
A legitimation petition, it's like, can be like $200 too. Every county is different, but it's in like a
to prove that a child that you know for a fact is yours.
Yeah, and you don't have to it's not even about getting a paternity test. It's simply going in front of a judge and saying, this is my child. It's important though. Georgia is the best interest of the child state. Mm-hmm. So what that means to a man is that if it's 10 years down the line, I've known about this child his whole life, but I've never had any interest of seeing them. Now all of a sudden at 10, I see how groomed this child is, or the mom flossing, so now I'm trying to get involved, and I want to establish a relationship. If he goes to court to be legitimated, the judge may deny him. The judge may say it is not in the child's best interest for this man to come into this child's life at this point. Because the child being 10 may have bonded with another man.
Right.
It's called giving up your opportunity interest.
Wow.
It's important for men to know that as well. Another thing, child support ends at the age of 18 in the state of Georgia. Some states actually say until you get out of college, but Georgia is 18 unless a court order something else. The reason why that's important is because if I find out about a child at 6, I start paying child support from 6. But if I knew about a child, but I don't come into his life until 6, I owe all that back child support. Georgia is a retroactive state.
Wow. That's a lot. some reason I'm glad to be a woman in Georgia, at least on this instance. So, just in your opinion alone, why do you feel it's such a woman's state as far as paternity and child support and all of that?
I really don't know. I don't think anybody knows because each state is different.
Right.
I'm from New Jersey. In New Jersey, when they say half on a baby, that's what they meant.
Mm-hmm.
When you had a baby, both of you was responsible for half. The rules have changed lately, but I think they're just looking out for the child. And mind you, when you legitimate, it's not automatically that the mom is going to get custody. You can file for custody in legitimation.
Okay.
Excuse me. There are two types of custody in Georgia. You have legal custody, and that gives you decision-making power. And then you have physical custody, which is just what it sounds like. You have physical custody of the child. Now, you may share joint legal custody, meaning you and the mom sharing decision-making.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia believes in co-parenting.
Yes.
So that means that we should talk about everything, right? We should communicate. We should be able to communicate. However, in the event we cannot, and we're not going to agree on everything, then we'll have a piece of paper that says what you get to decide and what I get to decide. And that's important. I think it's worth mentioning because of the state that we're in, the decade, the century that we're in, that only a biological father can legitimate. And that's important to the pride community because same-sex couples who, maybe the woman has a child, right? She naturally has a child and she's married. That woman doesn't have any custody rights to that baby.
I didn't even think about that.
Now, she can adopt the baby to get rights that way, but because only a biological father can legitimate by law in the state of Georgia, that means a woman cannot.
Wow.
Okay?
And so, just thinking of everything you've said so far, so I'm thinking of a scenario where there is a same-sex couple. What if it's two guys and they've adopted from a woman? A guy had intercourse with a female. He didn't do the whole transfusion. He went through the natural way. So it's his child. But she carried it for the two of them.
Right. So
how would he go about it being for him and his husband?
The scenario would be the same way. He could legitimate because he's a biological father and then have the other father adopt.
And the other father adopt.
And
Would she need, and if she's supposed to not have anything to do with them, can they do something to where she can't just?
That would be the adoption.
Okay.
That's why.
She'd have to. Oh, okay. So she'd have to give her child,
right,
quote unquote,
right.
away.
Because when I adopt a child, you're losing your custody.
Gotcha.
Rights.
Yes. Okay.
So and it protects everybody.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, because to me your word should be your word, right?
It
But
should be,
it happens, and it
all
has
the
happened.
time.
I mean, we've seen it.
Yep.
Children being 6 and 7 years old, being ripped from their father's arms and mom's arms because they got mad because they don't like the new girlfriend. And it's unfortunate too for us as an African American community because it's statistically more of us are unmarried, right? So this is the scenario. You and I are best friends. We have a baby. Everything is cool. We break up. Everything is cool. I'm coming to get my child when I want. Everything I want. Guess what? I got a new girlfriend that you don't like. All of a sudden, I can't see the baby. But I'm thinking, because I don't know, I'm thinking, well, I've been in his life all this time. I do everything like I'm supposed to. I'm just going to go to court and get some rights. And then you show up in front of the judge saying, I want to see my son. And the judge asks, are you legitimated? And you're like, oh. And that's usually how it happens.
Yep.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And it's unfortunate, right? Because you don't know what questions to ask if you don't know it exists. So I think it's very important, and actually it's near and dear to my heart, fathers' rights in the state of Georgia, because they don't have any. And as a woman, I'm appalled.
Yes, me too. And I deal with, I've only been in 2 serious relationships my whole life, and I've also, in both relationships, have dealt with bonus kids.
Okay.
And so just thinking of different things that happens of where it's proven that the mother has say no matter what. So you just have to find a good woman who is going to, come to terms and y'all can agree on half the stuff if you don't know the things that you know.
Right.
But for the ones that use their power, they abuse them.
Oh yeah, and it's sad because you can be a woman of God and have a heart of gold, but let something happen to your child, you turn into like the Wolverine of Wolverines, you know. And I can understand it, but again, it's the best interest of the child. And there's something in Georgia called alienation, and what that simply means that whoever has custody is keeping the child away from the other parent intentionally, and they do have these rights established, and or talking bad. There's a standing order in Georgia right now that any couple who gets divorced has to take a class. It's called Divorcing with Children. You cannot be divorced without taking this class.
We did that.
And the reason why they want you to do it is because it's an informational class. It's just really telling you how to act with tact.
Right.
That's all. Don't be cussing in front of the kids. Don't be talking about their parents in front of the kids. Don't use the child as a pawn. Don't have the child going back with messages. Be an adult. Yes. Pretty much what it means. It means just be an adult. Yes. And if you can't figure it out on your own, here's a piece of paper that tells you what to do. It's that simple.
So let's touch on child support. Would you say I'm keeping the scenario of two adults who don't act like adults. Okay. So a lot of the questions that I'm going to ask this morning is on adults that don't act like adults, or at least one of them isn't. Say that child support has to be in place, going to court has to be in place because the mother is just non-compliant on anything on any level. A lot of times it's not even a woman being bitter or hurt. She just has the child, and depending on what her schedule is when the father no, he has a birthday party this weekend, and he's like, dang, I thought I was supposed to get him. Well, no, such and such has a birthday party, and the father can't do anything because he doesn't have that in place. Okay. If child support isn't in place, would you recommend that the guy put himself on child support? One. And if he does put himself on child support, from what I heard, if a man puts himself on child support, that financially puts him in a better situation. He controls the amount. Is that true? No. So you got to understand a lot of variables matter. But in your specific scenario, the first thing is child support in Georgia is determined by both parents. Okay? Georgia says for one child, with parents making a combined income of this amount, then child support should be this amount. Whatever percentage the mother makes, she pays of that amount. Whatever the percentage the father makes, he pays that amount. So I like using nice round numbers. Let's say for one child, it says that for whatever their income is, they have to pay $1,000 in child support a month. That's total, both of them. Right. Combining her income and his income. Right. Correct? Right. Okay. Whatever that comes to, the state says $1,000 a month for the child. Okay. Okay. When you break their incomes down, of that combined total, the mother makes 40%. So she's responsible technically for $400 of the $1,000 child support. That means the father is responsible for 60% or $600. Now, if the child is staying with the mom, no, the mom does not pay the father $400. The father will pay her $600. However, if the father has the child, the mom will then pay the $400. So one, it depends on who has custody and what the percentage is that they make. But let me tell you why it can be bad. In the world we live in today, there's really a great array of numbers that we could use. Right. The only way child support is seemingly fair is if we make around the same amount of money. Yes. Or not too far different. Yes. Okay. I actually can tell you about a client where the woman who has the child was imputed. That means that they don't know exactly how much money she makes, but they're saying she has a capability of making $10,000 a month. Woo! Okay. And gave the father $6,200. Okay. Now, in discovery, we find out that she sold a house for $250,000. Okay. Well, when you add that $250,000 to her income, it increases her monthly. Well, just based off of the formula, it increases the total child support. And even though he might be paying a smaller percentage,
but it's of a higher amount. So
Yes.
he actually can wind up paying more child support now than he was before he tried to get it changed.
Wow.
So that's what I'm
Because
saying.
of what she has going on her
Because of
end.
what she has going on, it's such a big discrepancy in the numbers.
So they don't take, so what you're saying, and I'm learning just now as we're talking, when they take both incomes, it doesn't go on who makes the most. They just combine it and split it. Is that what you're saying?
No, they combine it and whoever makes what percentage of what.
Okay.
Okay?
So whoever makes more
Right.
pays more,
Pays more.
percentage-wise.
Pays more of the total. But if they have the child, they don't pay out anything.
Gotcha.
So if the
Because they
mother,
have a child.
right, because the mother has a child and she's making 70%, saying she's supposed to pay $700, she'll never pay that.
Mhm.
But the father will only pay $300.
Gotcha.
Let's say she made 80%. The father would only pay $200 a month.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
So let's take a scenario where the guy has a great job. One night out, he met the chick in the club. She don't even work. She stay at home with her mama.
Okay.
And he is a owner of Fortune 500 company. She has no income to make total of. How is that split?
It used to be that she would get zero and he would get whatever and he would be paying the total amount times what due. But now Georgia has gotten up with the times and made it more fair. So they say that everybody is capable of making minimum wage. So minimum wage will be imputed to her,
Okay.
meaning that even though you ain't technically making this money, you can make this money. So if he gets the child, even if she's only paying $100, she'll have to pay it to him,
Wow.
even though she don't have income.
Right. So then she got to figure out how to make
She
$100
gotta
every
figure
month.
out, absolutely.
What if one of them was getting like Social Security or disability? Do they count those?
They do, and the
Wow.
reason why they do that is because children. So it depends. Is the child getting his own disability, or is the child getting disability because the parent is getting disability? So, and often cases when the non-custodial parent is getting disability, the child is receiving disability, the courts will not make them pay child support because the mom is already getting something from them. On the other hand, if the child's own Social Security, then the mom or the non-custodial parent will still have to pay.
That's crazy. Okay, here's another one. So say the couple breaks up. He marries into another family. So he marries a woman with children. Do they consider what he's paying in this household when they goes to child support, or is it what his income is and what her income? And second part to that question, does that wife's income come into play because they're now one?
Okay, it's not just income; it can be assets too. And the reason that is because I mean, if I'm not making any money, but I have all this jewelry and vintage cars, I can make the money. I have a way to support my child. So, like I said, every case is fact specific. Okay, so without a little bit more information, it's hard to answer that. But just know that if you have assets, your assets can be used as income.
Even
as well.
if it say, with the assets are with the wife. Let's say the man and his new wife buys a house together or a car together or they're in business together. Does that play a part in the child support case?
Well, it will, because if we're in a business together, whether depending on what type of business it is it a partnership? Then we got to go based off of that. How much money does it say I get? How much money does it say my portion is?
No, I'm saying the wife and her husband
No, I'm saying
making money, and he
No.
has to go with his baby mom.
No, I say that. I say
Okay,
that.
gotcha.
You and I are married.
Okay.
We have a business.
Gotcha.
If it's a partnership, we're going to have a partnership agreement that's going to say, do we get 50-50 of this
Gotcha.
business?
Okay.
Do you get 70, I get 30? Did you put down $100,000 and I didn't put down no money? Again, fact specific. They will take that portion of the business that belongs to me
Gotcha. Okay.
and use that to determine.
Goodness. So ain't no way around.
No, you gonna pay.
Take care of your children, y'all. Take care of your kids. Mothers out there. It's just, like you said, it's just best that everyone gets along and figure it out outside of court.
Be fair.
That would be the great thing. And
Be
that's
fair.
what me and my kid's father was able to do.
Okay.
Like, my son is going to be 18 in September. My daughter's 13. And we don't fight over money and custody and none of that stuff.
That's good.
And he's not on papers and never,
Okay.
I don't make him pay child support because he does what he's supposed to do on this end.
Is he legitimated?
Yes.
Okay.
But that was only through the divorce.
No, I'm only saying that. See, and that's something else.
But we never knew about that. It was only because we was getting divorced that came into play with that. But outside of that, prior to the divorce, he never was.
Okay. This is important. It doesn't have to be adversarial.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to get legitimated just because we're fighting.
Right.
I want to get legitimated so I have rights to my child. Because you can drop dead tomorrow.
Exactly.
And if I don't have no rights, your mama can take my baby. Okay, so it's not that we're fighting. And that it's very important. It's very important to know. It's not just because we're fighting. The father wants to get legitimated under every circumstance. Under every circumstance. Because anything can happen.
Right.
And he wants those rights. And it's sad that most people don't find out about it until we're fighting. And I'm trying to establish my rights, and the court says you have to go this route.
Yes.
Yes. Were you married before you had children?
No.
Okay. So.
What my son know, we were married when we had my daughter.
Okay. So how that works is, if you get married within, I'm not sure, I think it's 6 months after the birth of the child,
Mm-hmm.
legitimation is automatic. You just sign a form.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
But in your case, you weren't married, got married some years later, that child is not legitimated.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to take the steps to legitimate that child, even though you guys eventually got married.
Right.
And it's important to know, because like I said, if something happens to you, you can be best of friends.
Right.
Your mama may not like him. Your sister might not like him. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they say possession is 9 tenths of the law.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So mama, you die tonight, she backs up the kids and leaves the state before daddy even know you gone. You know? And it's sad and unfortunate, but I have to stress that it should be done in all circumstances for unwed fathers. It doesn't matter if they arguing or not.
And it's like you said, you don't even have to be fighting, because we didn't find out that he had no legal rights until we went to court to get divorced. Mm-hmm. And so we had to do the legitimization. We had to do the parenting, and we're like, we parent fine. But until they would not give us the divorce until we went through all of these steps, and we're in Douglas County.
Okay.
So they're so strict on everything. So until we completed all of this stuff, then they stamped it your divorce.
Mm-hmm.
But he legally had no rights to the kids, and we just assumed he signed the birth certificate on both of them. He was there, and they was just like, that doesn't mean anything. And that was 2011? Mm-hmm. No, it was 2013 when we finally got divorced. So just in 2013 is when he was legitimized.
Wow.
With older kids.
Yes. And like I said, you don't know what you don't know. But
you don't know what you don't know.
It's sad and it's scary at the same time. But the Douglas County in particular is one of the counties they say they do what they want, but they don't play.
No, they don't play at all.
No.
Because people was telling me, it's simple to do this and simple to do that, but Douglas County, in every situation, when it comes to the school system, everything is a little more strict in Douglas County.
Yeah.
Let me see what someone said in case. I was legitimized. That's why I had to change my name a few years ago and have 2 last names.
Well, that is true. If the father gets legitimated, he has the right to have his name on the birth certificate.
That's good to know too. So if somebody that's listening in and watching on the live wanted to make this happen, do they just go to the courthouse and ask for paperwork?
Well, actually, Douglas County, as strict as they are very informative. You go to their website, Superior Court, they have all pro se documents listed. A lot of the Metro Atlanta counties do, where if you're not going to have an attorney, then you can go to their website, get these forms, fill these forms out. Remember, the clerk's office will not answer any questions. One, if the other side gets an attorney, get an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how knowledgeable you are, how many degrees you have, how long you've been in school, grandma's, uncle's cousin, you need to get an attorney if the other side has an attorney. 2, if you have more than 2 or 3 questions that you have to ask, you need to get an attorney. Because like I'm telling you today, every case is fact specific. And I'm on this group on Facebook called Women of Douglasville. And it amazes me the misinformation that people are putting out. Mm-hmm. There was a question about, it was an event about somebody's brother not being able to see the kid, and gave a scenario about his name on the birth certificate, and this woman said, if his name is on the birth certificate, he got rights to his child. No, he does not. And you know, I can't be giving out free advice all the time, but when I see stuff like that, it just bothers me. Because you go to these groups for help. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So you thinking that people that are giving information know what they're talking about.
Right.
And then in the end, and then they don't. So, you know, again, if you have more than 2 or 3 questions, you need to get an attorney.
So every father out there, whether you're fighting or y'all are the best of friends, it could be anything that happens out of your control, out of their control, that you should have your child legitimized if you want to be able to have say in your child's life or get custody in the event that something happens that you weren't expecting to happen. So that's just something every father should do, period, because we automatically have rights.
Automatically.
And sometimes the women will, I don't feel like taking them today. Or no, even just something as simple as dropping the child off. One should pick them up and the other one drop off, and she's like, "No, if you want, you gotta come get them. Nah, you know, bring them back on Saturday because we got something to do on Saturday. I'm on Sunday," and he has no say.
None.
So once you get legitimized, does that automatically give him control over scheduling, or is that something completely different?
No, it's a part of it. So it's a process. So you go to court and get legitimated. In that same court hearing, then you can get visitation and custody.
Okay.
Remember what I told you, there's 2 custodies. Physical custody and legal custody, okay? You may not get physical custody, and that might be fine with you, but legal custody is what you want. So you always want to at least ask for joint legal custody. There are 4 major decision makings: education, health, extracurricular, and religion. Usually they're split up, where if I get education, you'll get medical, and then we'll split the other 2. Again, we're supposed to co-parent.
Right.
We're supposed to be friendly.
Right.
So this document that I'm walking out the court with that says I get my son every other weekend, I get my son the 1st, 3rd, and 5th weekend of the month, that's only if we can't agree. And it will say that in the documentation. You guys should be able to agree on A, B, and C. In the event you cannot, the following schedule is in control. That's what the paperwork will say.
That's good to know. And then she can't control it anymore.
And remember too, it's okay to change.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something else I noticed, that we get this paper, we want to be so rigid because the mom is saying, you know what, Aunt Mary is turning 95, you know, next weekend. I know it's your weekend. Can I keep the kids? And you can get them 2 weekends in a row. It's okay for the daddy to say yeah. And even vice versa. If the father wants, it's okay for the mom to say yeah.
Yes.
They don't have to say, well, this paper says. No, the paper is just a guideline.
Yes, it's just a guideline. We've had to do that a couple of different times because, like you said, schedules can change, anything can change, and just being able to co-parent is the most relaxing, stress-free on everybody involved. And like we were saying earlier in the show, kids know when you fight.
They do.
They know when you're happy, they know when you're mad, they know when you're sad, they know when you're fighting. Like, even if you think you're hiding it from yourself. The kids feel it.
Yeah.
They know it.
Yeah, and then those conversations that you're having with your mother or your sister, when the kids walk in the room and you shut up, they know that's about daddy.
That's about daddy.
They know.
And stop talking about daddy to them.
Yes.
And with men too, stop talking about mama to them.
Uh-huh.
So is there anything else you want to tell us that we don't know? That you feel like, oh my gosh, like, why don't they know this?
You know what? I think we actually hit on a lot of good stuff today. It's not too much. I mean, like I said, a lot of stuff is case specific. So the scenarios you gave are great, but they're just that, scenarios. Everybody listening don't say, well, Miss J said. No,
right.
She didn't. No, she didn't.
That was just on Kel's scenario. And so you practice family law?
I practice family law. That is my main area of practice. And like I said, I want to eventually, when I get grown up, as we say in the business, I only want to deal with filers. But right now, I gotta eat, right? So I gotta take whatever come across. Only thing I don't do is criminal. I do traffic, which is technically criminal, but that's it.
Okay.
I don't do criminal. I don't want nobody chasing me because they family went to jail. I don't want none of that. So.
Yes. Completely understandable. So just give us a list of, you say you do everything except, what do you do? Like, what's your top 3 that you seem to get cases for?
Family law, and it's important to understand what family law encompasses, okay?
Yes.
So you have a divorce, right? Everyone's not married, so then you might not be divorced. You might need child support, legitimation, paternity, adoption, or a modification. Yes, in Georgia, it's important to know that once you have a court order, the law says you can only go to court every 2 years, unless there's a material change. And of course, there's a list of things that consider the material change. If your income drops or increases by over 25%, then you can go get a modification in child support, meaning that he making more money, she can take him, and he making less money, he can take her. And also contempt. You have an order that the other person isn't following. Like you're saying, he has this order that says he gets the child first, third, and fifth. It seems like every third weekend, he'll never get it. He can go for contempt. I do that as well. And that's the most realm I do in family. Like I said, I do traffic. I don't really do personal injury unless it's probably like a family or something, because those are like, you should be like self-funded, and I'm not there yet.
Gotcha.
I'm striving to be there. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, not there yet. You're going to get there.
Amen.
So my last question, as far as a lot of the things that we touched on, because I meant to ask earlier. What if the father went to put himself on child support and the mother denies it? What do you think a reason could be for that? Because I don't see a woman denying child support.
Well, if he does that, legitimation is coming. Maybe she cheated on her boyfriend and he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's lying about some stuff that will come out if this guy is determined to be the father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, it could be an array of reasons. But even still, remember, paying child support is not being legitimated.
Right.
Okay.
So do that first and foremost, and then worry about everything else.
Right.
Now, if the child is in a different state and you want to legitimize your child, do you have to go to the state that your child is in?
It depends. So the rules, because every state rules are different, the rules say that you have to go to where the other party is. However, let's say you're here, you got divorced here, your paperwork was here, or if you're unmarried, paperwork legitimated here, and then they moved to Texas. Well, until that child has been staying in Texas 6 months, Georgia is still has jurisdiction.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it depends, because the paperwork may say Georgia will maintain jurisdiction. Like, it may say that, which means no matter where they live, you always will change it in Georgia. What happens is, if she moves to Texas, she can domesticate her order in Texas. And therefore, whatever
I saw a movie that did that.
Yeah, whatever you got going on, now you got to go through Texas, and then if you want to change it, now you got to go through Texas. Again, everything is fact specific.
So speaking on Georgia being womanish, say that the father, again, another scenario of this, the father makes a lot of money and the woman receives a lot in child support. It gets to a point where he feels like, if I have to pay all this money, I'd rather have the child live with me. If there's nothing wrong with the mom, the dad just makes more money. Is it possible that the father could get full custody?
Anything's possible. I'm going to say it again. Everything is fact specific. Because, like I said, it's the best interest of the child state. So it's a lot of things to look at. The bond between the parents, the bond between the siblings. Is there any mental health, issues with the parents? Mm-hmm. Is the father making all this money because he works 8 days a week? Mm. You understand what I'm saying? Is he going to have time for this child? Mm-hmm. So again, it's fact specific.
I love it. All right, is there anything else you want to tell the people? If not, I want you to tell everybody where to find you in case they're like, look, I can't do this by myself. I need an attorney. I got way too many questions.
Again, my name is J. Everett. My office is JL Everett Law Offices out of Powder Springs. My phone number is 706-494-7744. 706-494-7744. I can be found on Facebook at JL Everett Law Offices.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming
You're
in.
welcome.
I enjoyed all of this information.
Oh my gosh, listen, again, each one teach one, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so y'all already know where to find her. I'm going to post her information on the Lick Show page today, too. So if you're like, crap, I didn't catch all of that, don't worry. You can find it on the Lick Show. And make sure you hit her up. And when you do, say, I got your information from the Lick Morning Show. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to actually get up out of here. So you're going to listen to some music. If you did not hear DJ Chuck's mix, You're going to hear it right now. We'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Love you, peace.
Show in Atlanta.
Thank you so much.
So how long have you been doing this?
For a year by myself. Well, for this particular show, I've been doing it for a year, but I was a co-host on another show for 2 years total.
Okay. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Morning, officially 5 days a week since December. January.
Really?
5 days a week.
Look, that's the best thing I could have done is start my own business because I like waking up when I want to.
Look, exactly.
I like waking up when I want to.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening. Again, I'm going to post her information on the Lick Morning Show, so y'all can still find it if you want to get in contact with her. Again, her Facebook is JL Everett. JL Everett. EVERETT. There you go. Love y'all. Peace.